Chaos Dwarfs got some pretty wide-ranging cost decreases on their mid to, yeah, sort of mid-tier units, especially like these Chaos Dwarf Warriors, for example. I think the Hobgoblin Wolf Raiders also got a slight cost reduction, but just across the board on a lot of their, basically everything that's not like Ironsworn or Laborers. A lot of stuff got cost reductions, which is good. It wasn't the most cost-effective tools in the past. Apologize, gotta adjust my mic here a little bit. Yeah, but we've got a line of said Chaos Dwarf Warriors, including the Blazing Beards here from Galrish in this replay. He's got the Demon's Tongue Regiment of Renown, got a couple of Kadai Fireborn, a Bull Centaur Tauruk, which I think also had their cost reduced, anti-large character Bull there, of course. Astrogoth Iron Hand leading the way. Out on the flanks, we've got some Laborers and some Hobgoblin and Wolf Raiders. Spears ready to tie things down, get on those archers. For their opponents, we see a newly cost-reduced Malekith with a little bit of a visual bug happening with the dragon wings there. Be sure to report that one. But yes, a lot of the Lord costs for Dark Elves got adjusted. That's probably the #1 change for them. We've also got some Cold One Dread Knights here pushing forward. Looks like a line of Sad Swords. We've got some Dark Shards with shields. Been seeing them make a little bit of a comeback lately. Quite good if you can protect them. Dread Spears and Karens of Cain, the Regiment of Renown Harpies. More Dread Knights over here looking to come out and just smash through these Laborers, get into the squishier Hobgoblin Wolf Raiders, perhaps. In the meantime, Chaos Dwarfs are going to be pushing up through the middle. Of course, they do have silver shields on their melee units, 55% missile block chance, so they will be somewhat impervious to those armor-piercing Dark Shards, although they definitely don't want to just sit and take those shots. We've got the Iron Demon also moving out on this flank here. You can see the Dread Knights kind of pull back away from that. It does look like the Dark Shards are going to be focusing here in the center on the Fireborn. And just a couple of volleys, massive damage there on the opposite side. Focus isn't quite as efficient, but yeah, man, those Kadai definitely getting punished very heavily by those armor-piercing crossbows. Very much need to break through, push through into the second level, which we do see them starting to do. As Dread Spears rush in, trying to provide some anti-large support here. Chaos Dwarf Warriors just being a little bit cheaper, will trade pretty good. They're overall great infantry. Just not super cost-effective before, but definitely very good stats all around. Armor, defense, attack, weapon strength are better than like a regular Order Dwarf Warrior, which does give them a little bit of an advantage, obviously. But anyway, here, Bull, Centaur, Tauruk, and the Kadai Fireborn duking it out with the Dread Knights. Malekith's going to charge in and do some nice damage as well. Could see a good Soul Stealer here, perhaps. Getting a nice AoE damage and self-heal on Malekith, helping to burst down his various units, so should be a tight engagement. But here in the center, yeah, Blazing Beards taking a lot of damage, but just nuked some Dark Shards with their grenades there. Out on the far side, too, the Cold One Dread Knights just kind of getting dragged down by numbers of Hobgoblins, despite everything. Probably a reasonably cost-effective trade there. The Iron Demon, of course, making its presence felt as it continues to disrupt and attack various units here. Going now, using its armor-piercing to go after these Red Knights. As tattered as they are, you could also just sit back and shoot them for a moment, but just charging in, trying to terrify them away, perhaps. Are they immune to psychology? They are not. So, yeah, they could be terrified away. Looks like perhaps they might. Meanwhile, over here, we've got an Ash Storm going down. Bull Centaur gets absolutely wrecked by Malekith. Not the strongest combat character in the world, but, maybe he pays for himself here. We'll have to look at his base cost. About 900 values, not terrible. Definitely contributed some value here, but, yeah, Cascading Fire Cloak on those Kadai Fireborn juices their melee defense and weapon strength. Up to 66 melee defense, should be holding out just fine against the Dread Knights. Meanwhile, over here, Wolf Raiders in the back line chasing some archers. The Demon's Tongue continuing to apply pressure to the Dread Knights. Could be rear charged and chased off, honestly, by these Hobgoblins, if the Hobgoblins are noticed by Galrish. But let's see here. More power being used by the Demon's Tongue as it continues that pursuit. Should be able to win that engagement regardless. Hobgoblin Wolf Raiders, yeah, doing a great job chasing, routing units here. Tauruk comes back for more. And this engagement's looking a little bit dicey for the Chaos Dwarfs, but once the Dread Knights are gone, should be able to hold out. The Blazing Beards also doing a great job here. 54 melee defense, 48 melee attack. Let's see what's affecting that. Just the base frenzy, of course, they have with their Regiment of Renown status. Gives them overall just incredible stats. It's really like a discount Ironsworn in many ways. Oof, Bull Centaur Tarek just gets straight up murdered by Malekith, though. And he turns around to fight Astrogoth, which, you know, Astrogoth's definitely no pushover. He's got quite a bit of HP still to work with, as does Malekith, so it should be an interesting and fairly even fight. All things considered, Chaos Dwarfs were pressing with a little bit of an advantage, but once the Cairns of Cain come in, they're able to sweep away some of these Wolf Raiders that were chasing routing units. Really, I mean, at this point, the Chaos Dwarfs are going to be reliant on this Demon's Tongue here to do a lot of work in cleaning up these very tattered troops out in open space here, which it should be able to do, but does have to be careful of the Dark Shards especially. Nice flamethrower attack as it charges in. Whoop, nope, kind of side swipes away there as the Dark Shards get terrified. Keep moving and keeping up on those unrouted targets. Sure to use that time very efficiently. Checking back in, Astrogoth seems to be winning the duel so far. It is quite a bit of RNG, but just in terms of stats here, I mean, they're actually pretty even when it comes to HP right now. And their combat stats are also pretty comparable. Malekith does have a pretty good weapon strength advantage, but in single entity fights like this, the dice rolls matter a lot, whether attack animations hit or are deflected by melee defense or miss. It matters quite a bit here. So the fact that Astrogoth, number one, hasn't been taking massive hits, number two, has been able to do a little bit of damage to Malekith does mean he's getting favorable dice rolls here to a degree. And that is certainly helpful. Of course, Cascading Fire Cloak and other things you can do to swing those numbers in your favor does help significantly. Iron Demon charging in there as, yeah, the Dark Shards really need to come and help Malekith. Malekith should try and get away if he can, but the question is, can he when the Iron Demon's in his charge animation? Probably fast enough to keep up with him, so I don't know if he will be able to disengage. Ooh, maybe. Looks like he gets distracted momentarily on those sad swords. Malekith dodges that flamethrower shot there. Is going to try and use his breath attack on Astrogoth. Will provide a little bit of a debuff, but isn't going to do a whole lot of damage. Black Dragon Breath especially, you need to be like right on top to do idealized amount of damage, and that's quite dangerous given the Demon's Tongue here can just flamethrower you up at close range, which will do a substantial amount of damage. Also applies that leadership debuff, so might actually be able to rout Malekith off with it if he can get some hits. Looks like the Iron Demon's not the most accurate, though, at shooting flying units. Some good tracking. Gets a hit there. A little bit of damage. Oh, but the flamethrower, of course, on the Bleak Swords is going to be quite effective. So let's pop in the fast forward here as Malekith chases these Wolf Raiders. And it's basically just Astrogoth and the Demon Train trying to clean up everything. Astrogoth's going to peel to go chase some things while the Demon Train hits those crossbowmen, and they're going to reunify together. Well, at least attempt to do so. Malekith charges in, manages to intercept the Demon's Tongue. But Astrogoth charges on in, Ash Storm rather, active. Does get a little bit body blocked by his own train, which, you know, we've all been there. But assuming he can find his way around here, a little bit of janky pathing for both of the single entities for Chaos Dwarfs. Hopefully isn't going to cost them too severely. Demon's Tongue is taking significant damage right now. That Soul Stealer also healing Malekith. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of the uptime of that Ash Storm was lost there. And the Demon's Tongue is looking like it's having a hard time turning around. At least it can still do that 360 blast animation, which will still get attack animations off. But yeah, unfortunately there. Well, I say unfortunately, Malekith is just getting clubbed by Astrogoth right now. Got a couple of very good hits in the rear arc of Malekith while he was turned around. Malekith, little baby cycle charge there. But the Demon's Tongue just using its ranged attack to finish off all these infantry as they come try and support. And then just letting Astrogoth try and win on his own. Keep the health bars up as the RNG kind of takes hold as these two duel it out. Demon's Tongue in the background. Yeah, Malekith getting some hits there, and he goes down. Yeah, you could see him actually dismounted from the dragon there to get technically killed. So, Astrogoth winning the single entity fight pretty decisively there is a key to success, of course, but really honestly scrappy game by both players. So they were each able to annihilate each other's armies pretty much entirely. Yeah, we'll check the the value on Chaos Dwarfs. I think they went from like 600, 650 down to like 550, something like that. We'll double check that. But yeah, Kadai Fireborn also a little bit of a mixed bag overall. Very solid though, I would say. Bring in this matchup, just the DPS and everything. Synergy with Astragoth's great. Of course, the Demon Sung also really nice and strong piece. So there you go. The Boltoruk ends up getting 1300 value fighting Malekith, which is interesting. We'll have to check out his base cost. I think he might have been adjusted as well. Malekith himself, almost 4,000 damage value. Absolute beast, as he has been often in Total War Warhammer. There's Dark Shards. A couple of them getting some pretty nice value. A couple of them getting rushed down pretty hard. And the Dread Knights, interesting choice here. I don't know. It's tough to say whether they're more advantageous or whether you should go with like more numbers of the cheaper anti-large ones. I'm not really an expert on such things, but let's just quickly touch on some Chaos Dwarf costs here. So if I come in here and take a look at said Chaos Dwarfs. So yeah, I guess 650 down to 600. That's right. I think that's what it was. Anyway, at 600, I mean, they're still not wildly cost effective, but definitely very decent. Blazing Beards, of course, like I said, discount. Ironsworn, definitely with that Frenzy active, especially, they can compete with a lot of elite infantry, and of course the blasting charges are super strong, so there's something to be aware of. Bull Centaur, let's see, got him down on abilities, 1100. I mean, that's about right for the damage value he got. Of course, if you add in some abilities, he's going to be a little bit less cost effective. Guardian in particular, Talisman of Obsidian, I don't know that you get a lot of benefit from this. There's not too many units with physical resistance where you would need to negate magical weapons. Maybe. But probably not in a matchup, especially like the Dark Elves. Maybe against something like Tzeentch if you're running a lot of Kadai, maybe. Possibly. They do actually have physical resistance. I think they might be really the only thing. So yeah, if you're running a Kadai heavy build into like Tzeentch, maybe you take that. But other than that, it doesn't seem wildly useful. But overall, 1250 with just Guardian definitely can give you some benefit if you're having to like fight there with Astragoth, for example. But definitely a very interesting one, and interesting to see some of the changes to Chaos Dwarfs. They were already pretty strong, not like super top tier, solidly kind of mid-tier faction. And with some of the changes, I don't know if they're going to change wildly. I do think they'll get stronger for sure, but we'll have to kind of see how things shake out. A lot of other factions got some pretty significant buffs as well, so on the net, it's probably not a huge change, but definitely something that was warranted. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.